Across centuries, the Gothic has explored fear, desire, and the haunting presence of the past. In India, our Gothic lives in old ancestral homes, in stories our grandparents told us, in things that never got explained. Our story comes from Kerala, the legend of Panchavankattu Neeli, from the historical romance novel Martandavarma by C.V. Raman Pillai. Neeli isn't evil for the sake of being evil. She is what happens when cruelty, lust, and power go unpunished. Her presence turns fear into consequence. Her story is both terrifying and tragic, lingering in Kerala's imagination. It reminds us of how human wrongs never really disappear. They come back as stories like this one. Before we get into the story, let's take a quick look at the man who wrote it. C.V. Raman Pillai. Kannangara Velayuthan Raman Pillai, better known as C.V., lived from 1858 to 1922 and is considered one of the pioneers of modern Malayalam literature. He even started one of Kerala's earliest newspapers, the Kerala Patriot. Modern Malayalam drama traces its origins to C.V.'s works with the first original play in Malayalam, Chandramukhi Vilasam. His best-known novels, Martandavarma, Dharmaraja and Ramaraja Bahadur, combine real historical events with imagination and emotion. Among all of C.V. Raman Pillai's work, Martandavarma stands out as his most influential novel. Let's take a closer look at the novel itself. Taking a step back to Kerala in the early 1700s, a time when the region, now known as Thiruvananthapuram, was still called Venadu. It was a turbulent time of royal succession. At its heart is Prince Martandavarma's struggle for power, surrounded by political intrigue, treachery, and royal conspiracy. Published in 1891, Martandavarma is the first Malayalam historical novel and one of the earliest in South India. The novel brings together several other characters like Ananda Padmanabhan, Subhadra, Mangoikil Kuruppu, Padmanabhan Thambi, Sundarayan, and Ettuveetil Pillais. Amidst all this tension, there is also tenderness, the romance of Ananda Padmanabhan and Parukutti. Tucked within this historical drama is the legend of Panchavankattu Neeli, introduced in the third chapter. The lore of Neeli, a fearsome yakshi from Kerala folklore, is one of the first mentions of Kalliyankatt Neeli in print. The tale is introduced as a story told by Karthiyayani Amma to her daughter Parukutti as she mourns her missing lover Ananda Padmanabhan. The legend unfolds near Nagarkoil, along the border between Thiruvananthapuram and Kanyakumari. A young Nayar woman is deceived by a cunning Patar Brahmin who marries her for personal gain. When she becomes pregnant, he convinces her to sell her possessions and accompany him to Padmanabhapuram, now a town in Tamil Nadu. Their journey takes them through the dense Panchavankattu. Exhausted, the woman rests beneath a cactus bush, where the Brahmin brutally murders her with a stone and steals her ornaments and money. A year later, as he travels with friends to a festival in Chuchindram, the Brahmin encounters a beautiful woman carrying a child near the same forest. Drawn by lust, he follows her into the woods, unaware that she is the spirit of the woman he killed. When they reach the very spot of the murder, he suddenly recognizes the place and her. The woman reveals her true form, transforms into a terrifying divine being, and destroys him, avenging her own death. Her return embodies repressed guilt and the uncanny return of the dead. Her figure is abject, blurring purity and decay. The wronged woman turns to a monster, then to a goddess. And witnessing all this, the Panchavankattu stands as a living, breathing Gothic psyche. The world of Martandavarma unfolds in early 18th century Kerala, a time when the Venadu kingdom was on the brink of transformation. Prince Martandavarma, the legitimate heir, faced fierce opposition from the Ettuveetil Pillamar and from the Thambi brothers, who challenged the traditional Marimakkatayam, which is a matrilineal system of succession with their own Makkatayam claim. The kingdom itself was under strain, burdened by heavy taxation and uneasy alliances with outside powers like the Madurai Nayaks. This was an era when Kerala's feudal order was starting to fracture, royal authority was weakening, local nobles were rising, and foreign powers loomed along the coast. Culturally, Yakshis emerge from the stories of women who met violent, unjust ends. Women silenced, betrayed, or punished for transgression. Their deaths do not end their stories. Instead, suffering mutates into supernatural power. As spirits, Yakshis wander thresholds, crossroads, trees, abandoned paths, drawing in the unsuspecting, often men. They are feared and desired in equal measure, embodiments of vengeance, memory, and the return of what patriarchy sought to erase. Among them, Panchavankattu Neeli, also called Kalliyankatt Neeli, holds a singular force in Kerala's folklore. Described as a dark-skinned and formidable, she appears in multiple, shifting versions, sometimes a ghost, sometimes a goddess. At Neeli in Kannur, she is worshipped as a mother goddess. Local lore remembers her as a Dalit woman murdered by a landlord after she defied him. Her deification restores the justice she was denied in life. In her, the mythical and the historical collapse. Neeli is both Yakshi and Devi, both the haunted and the divine. She stands as a figure of resistance, a memory that refuses erasure, and a testament to the power of the marginalized to return, transform, and speak through myth. To understand the novel's texture, we must first enter its vocabulary. Each term opens a window into Kerala's layered consciousness, where caste, faith, and folklore were inseparable from daily life. These words are the cultural grammar of the narrative. There are distinct caste demarcations woven into the social fabric of Martandavarma. The Nambudiris, Kerala Malayali Brahmins, formed the epics of the ritual and landowning hierarchy, shaping religious and intellectual life as a part of the traditional feudal elite. The Tulu Brahmins, originating from the Tulu Nadu region, often considered part of the legendary Parashurama Kshetra, reflect the historical movement of priestly communities along the west coast. The Nayars, Kerala's matrilineal warrior and administrative caste, occupied the intermediary space between royalty and peasantry, serving as both protectors and power brokers. The Pattar Brahmins, Tamil-speaking priests of the Pancha-Dravida lineage, migrated into Kerala and often appear in folklore and literature as outsiders, figures of both reverence and moral ambiguity. Taravada is a Malayalam word for the ancestral home of aristocratic Nayar families in Kerala, which usually serve as a common residence for the matrilineal joint families under the Marimakatayam system practiced in the state. In the matrilineal kinship system of Kerala's Nayar community, the term Karanavar, also spelled Karnavan, refers to the eldest male member of the Taravada, who acts as the head or steward of the family's property, decisions, and ritual responsibilities. A Kalari is a gymnasium or a training space primarily associated with the martial art of Kalaripayattu. Palm leaf manuscripts made from treated and dried palm leaves were once a primary medium of writing across South and Southeast Asia, long before the printing press. Texts from scriptures to epics were inscribed with a stylus and preserved through smoke treatment and oiling. In the novel, Parukutti is seen reading from such a palm leaf scroll of the Ramayana. Karthiyani Amma is described as wearing an onnara and munda, an ancient form of sari, which was the traditional attire of Hindu women in Kerala. Kalliyankatt, often referenced in sources as the same locale as Panchavankattu, is a wooded borderland on the route towards Nagarkoil, the Travancore-Kanyakumari frontier, the forested stretch where the Neeli legend is set to unfold. In Martandavarma, the novel's geography points to this landscape as the setting for Neeli episode, and local folklore links the name to the Yakshi tradition that haunts that part of southern Travancore. In Kerala folklore, Maya primarily refers to the supernatural power of illusion or magic that conceals the true nature of reality. This concept is central to local myths and rituals, often personified as a powerful divine force or Shakti associated with specific regional deities. Out of betrayal and blood, Neeli rises, no longer as a spectre of fear, but as a testament to defiance. Her haunting carries the silent fury of women erased from history, transforming pain into memory and memory into power. Through the languages, castes, and customs that shaped her story, the legend of Panchavankattu Neeli shows that Indian ghost stories are more than whispers of the supernatural. They are living archives of resistance, keeping alive the voices history tried to bury. In further research, Neeli can be examined through Lacan and Zizek's Real, where she emerges as a rupture in the symbolic order, a haunting that exposes repressed guilt and buried violence within the narrative. Derrida's hauntology extends this idea, positioning Neeli as the spectral residue of injustice, a presence that embodies unfinished mourning and the persistence of what society sought to silence. Moving beyond folklore, Neeli's evolution into the digital realm marks a new phase in her afterlife, where the Yakshi of Kerala's myths mutates into modern avatars of power and defiance, as seen in Loka Chapter 1 Chandra, the 2025 Malayalam movie. Her shifting presence suggests that the ghost never truly dies. It only adapts to the fears of changing times.